What's up, Portland? John Taylor, founder of PortlandRealEstateExperts.com.
And I'm Kristina Bullock, co-founder of PortlandRealEstateExperts.com.
And we are your host for the show that brings you interesting people talking about what makes them unique,
what makes Portland unique,
and why Portland is such a great place to live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the All Things Portland podcast. I'm your host, John Taylor, along with my lovely co-host, Kristina Bullock. And we are here today to interview ourselves.
Hello.
And just ask each other some questions about our background, our journey from beginning to where we're at now. Talk a little bit about all things Portland and what we love about Portland, and talk about what we love about real estate. So with that being said, Kristina, why don't you start and tell us a little bit about your journey and where you started and how you ended up in Portland.
Happily. So I started as a youngster. I grew up in Southern California on a ranch, actually, in a little city outside of Camarillo, between Camarillo and Oxnard, so agricultural area. And I grew up with a large family and I was one of three children that grew up in my house. I had two sisters that I grew up with, but I have other brothers and sisters because my dad and my mom weren't together, and my dad remarried and had four other children. So
4 other children.
Yep. So, and then my mom's side of the family, there's a lot of us. So I graduated actually from high school. Moved around Ventura County quite a bit, but graduated from high school in Westlake High. And I graduated a year early because I was dead set on that I was going to be a forensic scientist, which just sounds so crazy now that I'm in real estate. But I got into real estate because my mom was a title officer for 30 years and always had to help her friends. And ended up getting a job for a prominent real estate team while I was in high school and outside of high school, going to community college. So I thought for sure, as much as real estate was a part of my life, I was absolutely not going to do that. I was going to go do something that at the time I felt was forced on me. So because it was a lot of free labor to my mom's friends, right? Filing all the stuff, because that's what you had to do in real estate. There's always files stacking up. So anyway, long story short, went to college, ended up Moore Park Community College, and deciding that forensic science wasn't at all what I wanted to do. Followed someone in a lab and realized I like actually talking to people and not people that were no longer with us.
The tedious part of like separating a hair follicle.
Yeah, I like that stuff, but it wasn't for me. I felt like I would really miss the interaction of humans. And so I kind of snapped and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I stopped going to community college and ended up moving to South Lake Tahoe after spending some time up north and realizing that I did some snowboarding during El Nino and snowboarded some epic freshies powder. And I was like, I need a break.
Snow, absolutely.
And that's actually how I ended up coming across and meeting John Taylor because I became friends with one of my longtime friends is actually someone he grew up with. So after moving around, I lived in Austin, Texas, did some work there. I've always somewhat stayed in the real estate realm, but it wasn't until I ended up here back living in Portland, and we were actually dating at the time, that I threw myself into real estate and realized that I can't avoid it anymore. Real estate has been a part of my life forever, and there was no more denying it. So at the height of the crash, the 2008 crash, I thought, why not get your real estate license? And
totally makes sense. Like, that's when the world's falling apart and real estate's as hard as it can be, you should jump into real estate. Absolutely.
And that's kind of how I ended up in real estate. So
I don't think we quite knew how bad it was going to get at that point.
No, we definitely had no idea what was coming our way, but I feel like those were some very powerful lessons, and if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't do it in an easy time to jump into real estate selling. I would pick the same path of going in when it was really, really hard.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
then when times got easier, it was definitely a different situation. So we got through the hard parts. But anyway, that's the gist.
And you're still at it 12 years later.
12, yeah. I've been in Portland now for 13 years.
Yeah.
We have a 9-year-old son, and that little guy is the love of our lives. But yeah, and here we are today.
Do you want to tell them how I tricked you into moving to Portland?
Yes, I came to Portland. Actually, so back in Tahoe, our mutual best friend swore, because I lived in Austin, Texas, that I would love living in Portland. So the seed
Very
had already
true,
been
yeah.
planted. And it wasn't until I visited during August, which is by far the best time to visit Portland.
I call it the August sneak attack. So
Yeah.
you just because it's always beautiful. Portland's one of the most beautiful places in the world, right? Like
Yeah.
in August when it's gorgeous out like that. So of course
Yeah.
I told her it's always like this. So
I showed up in August and was blown away by the city. The food, the people, the kind of nightlife, low key, not like a bigger city, but still big enough that there was a lot of stuff to do and fun things happening. So I was in my late 20s, so it was a good time to be here. I know we had a lot of fun.
the real estate market was roaring, and we lived in the Pearl District, and there was just a lot of fun stuff going on. So.
Good time to be living in Portland,
Yeah.
really. I mean, things were going great for the first year or so. And then it took a major turn. The whole sneak attack was...
Things got a little challenging, and what was your first winter like?
So my first winter here I loved, because I'd always grew up in the sunshine, and then I'd just come from Texas. So being able to have an umbrella, which is not fashionable here in Portland, but it was for me because I'm from Southern California, and I don't care that people here don't use umbrellas. I had an array of beautiful umbrellas, and I loved it. I got to wear boots, and it sounds so shallow, but just the wardrobe of being able to dress for fall was amazing for me.
Your fall wardrobe, your winter
Snuggling
wardrobe.
up, fire, hot drinks, just taking all those changes in that I'd never experienced living in hot areas. So it was, that was what I remember. Also, living down in the city and then having it snow randomly a couple times was super fun too, and having things like the trolley and restaurants to go exploring, and it was just a good fun time. Loved.
Was it the second winter when you started going, this rain is just getting to be a little too much?
I think it was the third when I realized it wasn't necessarily the rain, but the gray days got to me.
Yeah.
I think it was about the third year here that I was planning on leaving.
And it's a little
Portland.
tougher when times were as tough as they were too. So we're the market's crashed.
Yeah.
We're broke. We can't really travel. You can't go back and see your family as often as you want.
Yeah.
We're struggling just to pay bills. So
there was a lot of stuff going on.
A lot to deal with. But I think one of the funnest winters I remember was the Arctic blast. You remember that? Yeah.
I do remember the Arctic blast. That was a blast.
So Christina's, it was your 30th birthday. And so Christina's mom, I flew her in and surprised her.
Mm-hmm.
And so she knew we were going to meet our friends and at Andina, one of our favorite restaurants in the Pearl District. And
love Andina.
And so we had a nice room downstairs, and so, but what she didn't know was that her mom was in town, and so my mom had gone and picked her up at the airport, and they had her kind of hidden.
Yep, it was a large private room, and there was a whole table full of people, and there was one missing chair, but I didn't think anything of it when I walked in.
Yeah, because it was kind of packed.
Yeah, and I was surprised. And then out pops my mom in the back corner, which... I don't know if John nicknamed her
Yeah, she sprung up out of nowhere, so we now call her Crouching Tiger, Hidden Mexican.
That is their nickname for each other. She literally sprung out in the back corner. But yeah, that was a great winter.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. She ended up getting stuck here in Portland for 5 days because of the Arctic blast.
Yeah,
I think
it snowed like 2 feet or something crazy.
what is it, like 5 feet? It was
felt
crazy.
Like 5 feet, but yeah.
But yes, we got to explore Portland and everything and show off the city in a way that we just couldn't do with everything kind of shut down. We did a lot of on-foot exploring, and I think that's one of the things I love about this town is just the ability, the walkability in so many neighborhoods.
Yeah, I remember like just trudging through like 5 feet of snow or whatever it was, but I remember we were like waist deep in snow, like trekking through.
Oh yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
And I'm pretty sure she didn't have snow gear. I don't even remember how we got her dressed
we
up.
didn't.
Like we just kind of
No.
patched her together with.
We put layers on and we made it work. So, but yeah, so that's essentially how I ended up here in Portland. And, it was 2000 I met you in Lake Tahoe before coming to Portland, but it wasn't until I think 2006 that we were actually dating, and that's when our history began. So that's
September of 2006.
Yeah, official.
When you
The move-in.
Yeah.
We count the move-in date, the official.
The official move-in date. Yeah.
The official date for dating, which is just crazy. That was so long ago.
Our first date was actually in Las Vegas. So.
Oh, I forgot that. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah. I got approached, actually. Somebody asked me if I was working. I had no idea. I said, no,
Well, she was waiting for me
I'm
to
on
show up.
vacation. What do you mean, working?
She didn't know what that meant.
I'm just
Thought
sitting
that
there.
was cute. But
Oh, working. Yeah, no, don't do that. Thank you.
yeah.
John, please get here. When is your flight arriving? I just got approached. So that's the gist of me and how I ended up here. I've got, how about yourself? Like we know you're from Portland or Troutdale,
I'm
really.
Born and raised in the Portland area, just east of Portland, which is in a town called Troutdale, which they call the Gateway to the Gorge, which is one of the spectacular, amazing places of the Portland area. But I grew up out there, graduated from high school in 1987, and went to the University of Oregon. Felt very blessed to go there, and graduated in 1992. And I always worked at the Air Force Base. I did roads and grounds maintenance. That was my summer job, and I loved it. But when I graduated, I didn't know what I was going to do, so I continued. They kept me on through that summer after I graduated, and then they kept me on a little longer, and then pretty soon it was November. And my boss, who was also my uncle, said, I'm sorry, this is a temporary job. We can't keep you on anymore. You got to go, basically. And I said, it's cool. I love the job, but I don't want to mow lawns for the rest of my life. That wasn't my lifetime goal. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was kind of like you. My mom was in real estate since 1976. And kind of getting pushed into it. Being a rebel that I am, I'm like, I'm not doing the family business. But when I looked at all the options, and corporate jobs just didn't seem like they were for me. So my mom was just like, why don't you try real estate? So in December, I started going in November or whatever, but I got licensed in December of 1992.
Whew.
Yeah. And giving up my age here. And then I jumped right into it.
Years of experience, people.
I loved it. I loved interacting with the people, and I've been doing it ever since. So
yeah. I always like how your mom trained you. You want to tell them how you got trained on your first
it was
listing
just kind of jump right into the fire with my mom, because that's just how she is, and she's just like, she's like, come on this appointment with me. It was like my first week, and I'm still trying to figure out paperwork and what I'm doing, and I don't know how to deal with people yet, or go talk somebody into listing their house with me, or even what to say. And so we're going to on an appointment to visit a for sale by owner to talk to them about it. And for sale by owners are probably the hardest ones to talk to in a lot of cases, because they're like, we don't want a realtor. We're doing this on our own, right?
Right.
And so we get there, and then she's like, "Oh my God, I've got to go write an offer on this other one. Why don't you go in?" And I'm like, I'm scared to death. Like, what do I say? She goes, just go, you'll figure it out.
New real estate agent, that's like...
So I roll up, I'm this like sweating bullets. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I have no clue.
Did you have your Trans Am then?
Probably, it was a Camaro, actually.
Oh, Camaro,
yeah. So,
that's right.
And so I rolled up. I'm John with, we were with Remax at the time, and I said, I'm John Taylor with Remax, and I'm here. And he slammed the door in my face, and then I was just total rejection. Rolled out of there, and it just kind of, but that's how I learned. I was just getting thrown in and just do it, and it just got better and better each time. So
yeah. No, that's definitely June Taylor's style of teaching.
That was the style.
Just go get the paper signed.
But talking about the Camaro, and then once I kind of got my feet under me and started getting some of my own clients, and we always laugh because I had this old beat up Camaro. And we would pull up, or I would pull up to my client's house, go in, talk to them a little bit, and then we're going to go look at houses, right? So then we'd walk out. I'd have 4 houses to show them, and then I'd kind of look at my car and say, would you like me to drive, or would you like to drive? They drove every time. It saved me gas. And so,
the Camaro life.
The 2-door Camaro wasn't the best car for showing houses, but it was. We had a lot of fun with it.
Well,
so,
you hadn't sold enough houses to upgrade yet, so. Yeah, so that's how, and here we are. We personally have been working together for how many years now? What is that?
Well, 12 years. 12 years. Well, you got your licensed in 2008, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. So
12 years. But
12 years together.
Helped out a little bit before.
Yeah, I worked inside the office like a year prior, so 13 years. 13-year itch, something like that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun stories we could probably
we could go on and on with all kinds of fun stories, but why don't we just take a little break? And
I think here's a good time to take a break, and then when we come back we can jump into more of us working together in real estate and jump into a little more about Portland and our favorite places here in Portland, Oregon.
Have you ever thought about flipping your own home?
Need to sell but cannot afford the repairs? We have the solution for you.
With our Flip Your Own Home program, we can help you maximize your full potential profit.
For a free, no obligation 15-minute consultation, call or text us today at 503-382-7798. Welcome back, everyone. I'm John and Kristina, and we are back to talk to you about what we love about Portland and some of our favorite places and things. But I did want to first ask Kristina, how in the hell did we end up working together, still working together? We're exes, obviously. We're co-parents, but how in the hell are we still working together? And how do you feel about that?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I know we have limited time here, but actually I feel really, just to sum it up, it feels really good to be parents of a beautiful child that do the same thing for work and have found a way to make it come together and put all of our differences aside and get past all of the crap that was the past and realize that we do work well together and we have similar goals and we, for our life and for our child, and that we're better working towards them together instead of separate and apart. So that's the short story. How we got there is a whole
That's a whole nother episode. And we'll probably get into that down the road.
What about you? What's your take?
I think the same thing. Obviously there's been ups and downs and reasons that we are not together and we've put all of that past us, and I'm super excited about the future and just blessed that we've gotten to that point.
Yeah.
And knowing that
Hasn't been pretty.
we're, we've both realized we're better off together than we are alone, that we're both very experienced in this business, and we have the same goal and the same end goals in mind. And so I think that,
I think it ultimately we're family, whether, maybe we tried to fight it for a couple years there of doing it separate. I think we had about 2 years out of the 13 that we tried to do it separate, and we both did fine. I mean, to say we could have continued working separately. So I guess I've never asked him, what part of, after coming back to, what was it for you that said, hey, let's talk about doing this together again?
I think I realized I started thinking about our son, who's 9, and 10 years from now, approximately, he's going to be kind of carving his own path. And I was thinking that I wanted to have a path for him should he choose to go into real estate. Not force him to, but should he choose, that there's a book of business that's built that he could start stepping into. And so I started thinking with that as a 10-year goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started thinking, well, his mom's doing the same thing, and we're in a very good spot in our life and our relationship as co-parents and just as friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I thought, let's just start talking about, let's maybe merge our talents together and work towards that same goal together. So that's kind of how it came about for me personally.
Yeah. I think for me, even when we were working apart, there were times when I felt like this is kind of silly, because we know a lot of the same people.
Right.
And doing investments or doing flips, and then finding, people to sell flips to or whatnot in the business. Here we are contacting the same people. This is really silly that we're still not doing this together.
Yeah.
And I guess for you, for anybody listening that might not have this relationship that we have, and I know it took work, and I can share why I think we're at this place, but why do you think we're at a place to where we can work with each other and keep the past in the past
Well, it only took me 50 years, but it just had to get past some stubbornness, and I just sometimes it takes a long time to mature and realize certain things, and so, and to me it was just like, we're going to be better off working together.
Yeah.
Like, butting heads and not working together wasn't working.
Yeah.
I knew that, and it didn't feel good, and so I think if people can get to that point sooner than later, I wish it would have happened sooner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything happens for a reason, but if you're even thinking about it, if you can get there sooner than later, then that would be my advice to somebody.
We're not advising everybody to work together, but to get to this point to where you can work together, I know I get a lot of like, whoa, you work with your ex? Like, what's that like? And it's, for me, it's been about everything being based in love, understanding, acceptance. I know as a mother, it was hard for me to let go of control of my son going over to your house and what was happening there, and so many things that come along with just like the split home. And so it made me really, really happy to say, I'm going to squash all that, put it aside, and our son's going to see his two parents work together and get along and do things that maybe not everybody's doing, and kind of squash those ideas that two exes can't still love one another even though they're not in a relationship anymore. So
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is that goal, having that same goal at the end, is to make your child and your children, if there's multiple,
right,
like, happy, and then if they can be part of an end goal business wise, then by all means try to figure out a way to work together. If that's not something you're working together towards, and maybe working together isn't for everybody by any means.
No, that's
and
just
it's not easy. It's hard, just like any relationship is.
Right.
So.
It's super hard. So it's so hard we decided to do a podcast together as well. That's how hard
yeah,
it is.
absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that is...
Speaking of the podcast, what made you decide that you wanted to do a podcast? And
I think for me, I've wanted to share. I've always felt like sharing. I feel like sometimes maybe I share too much in life in general. Who I am, my opinions. I'm somewhat of an open book, but I know after doing this for so many years, there's first-time home buyers that say repeated things like about the process of working either with one of us or our team together as a whole. And being able to help people in that way. But also just, we've met so many amazing people doing this job. And you growing up here have access to a lot of people that you've introduced me to. And just acknowledging the people that live in Portland and how we all, our contributions in the community and how we all still remain friends after doing work and together and maybe continuing to work together. Just so that's the gist of just wanting to share the people and why we love living in Portland.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, how about you? I think it's probably the same.
Very similar. Like just one to share our knowledge with other people that since we have so much experience and it's a business that we love.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
So getting that knowledge out there to the masses, I think it was one thought or one of the inspirations, but at the same time making it about some of the super interesting people we've met along the way. So I just felt like we had all these people with that have started these great businesses and where they've come from, and that they would have some really interesting stories to share.
Right.
And it would give them a platform to share that as well. Share their business, promote their business if they want,
right.
And just kind of, so that was kind of the vision. And, I love Portland, so, can we kind of give Portland, obviously it's been on the map more than ever lately, but can we give Portland a little more exposure and what we love about it? And just talk
real
about
life,
those
I
things.
guess,
So,
not the stuff on just the tourist books or, websites, the 1 through 10 spots outside of those places.
So speaking of Portland, you're a transplant, but you've been here a long time. But and I know there was some rough winters for a number of reasons. But what keeps you here? What do you love about Portland? And what do you love about Portland?
Actually, so there's a lot of things I love about Portland. It did take me. There was a few years here where it was a struggle. I did, struggle with the rain and gray days, but at some point I decided to live 2 feet here. I think a lot of my struggle was also family related, raising a child away from my huge family where it's sunshine, parks, beaches, and that's how I grew up, and wanting those same experiences for my son and sisters and just all that love that I have back home in Southern California. And people I grew up with, it took me a while to realize, okay, Portland isn't that bad. Actually, it's really great, and let's try living here with 2 feet in. And as soon as I did that, I started realizing that I lived in an area of Portland that is literally 15 minutes to downtown, 15 minutes to hiking trails in the gorge and further, going to Bend, Mount Hood, all the outdoor. I found a lot of my love grew for Portland in the outdoors once I started realizing how I could take advantage of where I live. And so that's mostly how I fell in love with Portland for the second time, and it's remained very strong since then. So because I fell in love when I first came here enough to obviously come move here, lived here for a bit. The fun kind of wore off a little bit. Things changed, but then I learned how to fall back in love with the city again, and now I love living here. I want more family to come live here. Actually, I would love for them to come here as opposed to me going there.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think it's, when you first moved here, the market was roaring. I was making way more money than I ever should have. And
that easy, yes.
And
Not that you ever should have, yes.
We lived in the Pearl District, and it was somewhat of a glamorous lifestyle, out walking to restaurants all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of parties, and so...
Yeah, it was a good time.
And that just wore off and was, kind of gone in an instant. So I can see...
gone, but it also was just time to grow up, too. And
time to grow
care
up.
about other things. So.
Absolutely. And it was a fun time in our life, but, I think those first couple of years, we didn't really explore all the other things Portland has
I
to
didn't.
offer,
Yeah, I didn't get to go do that right away. So, and there's still a lot of places.
We went skiing a few times, but we weren't like up at the mountain and down at the beach and on the hiking trails and all that.
Yeah, and his family has a Lincoln City house that's been in the family forever. It's just this cute little small home that is readily available, but for whatever reason, it wasn't taken advantage of. That's actually where our son's at today. So.
Right, yeah, he is down there.
Yep.
So.
He's definitely changed that, and having that history of the home being in the family and where your mom took you guys and then now is taking the next set of grandkids, and then keeping that. I find that important and keeping that going. So it's helped me get out a lot more, but also want to explore more. There's so many beautiful places here.
Although when you first came here, I gave you the Multnomah Falls package. Is that what
Yes,
it was?
this is where the packages came into play. So I was definitely being wooed when I first came here. So there was certain things that were shown to me with the idea of showing off Portland and showing off where he lived. And the Multnomah Falls package was one of them. The Big Pink, the Portland City Grill.
Portland City Grill package.
On a beautiful day was definitely another. That was a beautiful, first that whole, when you walk up there and walk into that bar was like breathtaking. The view, the Mount Hood.
View of Mount Hood.
The river.
And all of downtown and the river. Yeah,
it's
amazing.
Magnificent to see for the first time. And then, of course, the beach. So, Cannon Beach was another one that we did. So,
yeah, I love Cannon Beach. I love all up and down the Oregon coast.
Yeah. So we know your packages.
Seaside was a lot of fun.
Seaside is super fun. I actually, because we have Lincoln City House, it's been hard to kind of explore more of the beach areas, but we did make it a point to go and see other areas recently to get jet,
Lincoln City's big, and Seaside are, they're big for Oregon coast. And, Cannon Beach is a lot more quaint.
Garibaldi's fun.
Manzanita. And so.
Yeah.
But Seaside's cool for kids because there's a lot for kids,
And Cannon Beach has the Goonies Rock.
games.
I mean, you have to go do that when people come into town too. So there's just certain things that you can't find anywhere else. Like I realized when I lived in Southern California, I had access. There's tons of beautiful scenery here, but to be where we are is really special.
Yeah.
The green that we get from the rain that I, might have not liked for a while, it is pretty magical. You can't get the scenery that we get here without it. And so I've learned to accept it and love it and realize that there's a reason for it. And it provides more than it takes away now.
Well, I think Portland winters, too, are funny because you're just like, gloomy. You're like, I just got to get out of here. And then the sun will pop out and you'll have one or two of these just magnificent, beautiful days. And you're like, oh my, that's why I live here.
Yeah, no.
And then, of course, the summers, you understand totally why you live here.
Yeah.
But those winters, it'll kind of drag you down and then the sun will pop out.
I think the way you fix that is just go somewhere every year in January, February.
If you have that ability, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to do in the winter in Portland as well.
You can just jump in your car and go, somewhere. Just the fact that half of Oregon is desert is.
Yeah, most of Oregon is desert, and a lot of people might not know that. I never really
I
knew
never
that
knew it
growing
until I
growing
lived here.
up. Like I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Once you get on the east of Mount Hood, then most of Oregon is desert, and so the majority is. But people just think of Portland.
That saved me a lot when I.
And so it's high desert, so you get some amazing snow. Especially if you go to Bend, Mount Bachelor, it has some amazing snow. And Mount Hood does too, but I would say Bachelor is probably a little bit known better for its snow.
Snow, yep.
And then the summers are, obviously
Bend
nice
is
and
incredible.
hot.
Sun River. I mean, there's so many places to explore just in this state, and the falls and the lakes, Trillium Lake, Lost Lake.
Yeah.
It's really hard to believe that you're looking at real scenery sometimes. I look at it and it looks fake to me. Looks like the movie set prop is about to roll off. Like it just looks too perfect sometimes.
Yeah,
it's
when that mountain
beautiful.
pops out and you can feel, you're 100 miles away from it, but you feel like you can reach out and touch it. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and then the sun hitting the light, lake light. It's an incredible place to live. And now with the son that likes to go out and explore, it's definitely changed how I feel about Portland, and I'm excited to explore more of the state. Yeah. So, So I think it's time. Do you have anything else before we take another break?
So. If we want to take a break and come back and maybe just real quick talk about some of our favorite restaurants, we can talk about that.
Yeah, we can do that when we get back in just a bit.
You want the absolute best for yourself, and you want it to be easy. That's why we created Green 85. It helps with detoxifying the body gently. We're proud it's chemical-free, unlike almost all other supplements you'll find. Bottom line, Green 85 will get you healthier. We look forward to hearing what Green 85 did for you.
To get this product and our other amazing products, go to chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com.
Welcome back, everyone. John and Kristina, and we are going to chat a little bit now, maybe some of the restaurants that we love in Portland and the surrounding areas, and then maybe talk a little bit more real estate and some of the neighborhoods we've lived in and what we love about some of the different neighborhoods in Portland. So,
Yep.
With that being said, what's some of your favorite restaurants?
First favorite restaurant right off the bat, I love sushi. So for me, Bamboo Sushi here in Portland is delicious. I get the same roll, same salad, and same cauliflower dish every single time.
What's the cauliflower?
Oh gosh, I don't even know what they call it. And they changed it, but the second round was just as edible as the first one they had forever. But it was like a honey something roasted
I forgot
cauliflower.
about that. Some sort of roasted
Honey
cauliflower.
and spice.
Ridiculously good, yeah.
Then the spinach salad that they have there, the Japanese spinach salad, where it's got the sesame seeds and it's just condensed down into a little ball pretty much, and then it somehow expands into a massive salad when you're eating it. And then the dragon roll, I love there. So
The dragon roll, yeah.
And I like everything the company stands for, sustainable fish practices, and just yummy food altogether. Apparently they have a great burger there. I haven't tried it yet, but it's a Wagyu beef, I believe. So
yeah.
I know a lot of people go to a sushi restaurant here in town.
Yeah, it'd feel kind of funny having a hamburger at a sushi place.
That's what is said, but I hear it's amazing. So, and then one of my other favorite spots is, let's see, for like cheesy Mexican food. It's a little family-owned restaurant on Sandy called El Sombrero. It's 108th. My dad loves it. He's the one that got me started. When he visits, he wants to go there. And the ladies are all pretty amazing, so we always have to stop in there. But El Sombrero is one of them.
El Sombrero is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we mentioned Andina before. Love Peruvian food. And I'm trying to think what else is there. Not really into like steak or any of that stuff, but El Gaucho was always a spot for us that was pretty fun.
El Gaucho is always fun. I love El Gaucho just because it's like the ambiance is really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a high-end steakhouse, but it's
Get to go pretend to be
it's
high-end for the
super
night.
expensive, and we've had some fun office meetings there, or kind of office party, I guess.
Yes.
So,
Remember Bree when mushroom on her steak. She called it
Oh
ET.
yeah, it looked like ET. The
It
mushroom.
really
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
That
Forgot
one
about
always.
that.
That was an alcohol and
Yeah, that might have been after several glasses of wine.
yeah. No, I think it was a Little Red Riding, a drink that they have there.
That could have
It's
been it,
tequila,
too. Yeah.
so I think that might have been more
El
tequila
Gaucho's
talking.
one of my
But
favorite. Alamir.
Alamir is amazing.
Yeah.
I love Mo at Alamir. He has amazing food, but he really does make the place. I don't know that I've been dancing on the bars lately there, but that was always part of the fun at Alamir.
Yeah, it's hard to get
When
out of there without dancing
When
on
the
bar.
restaurant part shuts down and the bar music blares up and everyone starts dancing and Mo pulls you up on the bar, that was always some of my favorite memories here in Portland.
Yeah, if you're not from Portland, if you don't know, it's a Lebanese restaurant down in Southwest Portland, kind of right downtown, and it's a lot of fun and really good food. So
I feel like the younger generation might not know how special Alamir was.
maybe not. I don't know. I haven't been there for a while. So when the city opens back up, that's
Time
one of
to
the
go
first
back.
places I'm going to go.
I know it's funny how this shutdown is.
And he's
maybe-
catered so many of our events too. So.
He has. He catered a lot of open house events for us. It goes very long. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Alamir's great. So, what other restaurants do you like?
Wow. El Gaucho, Alamir. Right now, just because it's close to my house, and it is really good, but it's called Chiang Rai, I think. I could screw the name up, but it's a Thai place in Troutdale, close to my house, and one of the few places out there that's open. So
Yeah.
I've been eating there almost every day.
Yeah, I think that's just convenience
They're
for
always,
sure.
when I change it up, they're kind of shocked because I'll go like orange chicken, and then is this John? You want orange chicken? I'm like, no, I'm going with the teriyaki chicken today. But
Yeah,
that
I mean-
place is really good.
There's places that you just go to and frequent, but then there's also just those places that are like meant for special occasions and stuff.
There's
so.
two that I really missed that were staples for us in the Pearl District when we lived there. But Paragon, I was sad to see that go. That was really good food and always fun to go to. And,
Yep.
Oba.
I wish I would have put money on what he was gonna say. Those were the go-tos for sure.
Portland City Grill,
Yeah.
it's pretty solid, consistent food.
What about happy hour places? Like, do you have a good happy hour spot that you just can't? Like, the prices are so good, and you go get a drink, and
I just haven't done happy hours in so long. I don't.
I got one for you: the Observatory over in Montevilla.
Observatory, yes. Yeah.
You can get a $3 salad and a $2 cup of soup.
Yeah.
Delicious, like Caesar salad, red potato pepper bisque, $5, and then you get a drink. So usually that's a glass of wine for me, white
Sold.
wine. You're out of there under $10 and then $12 for 20% tip. Like,
Yeah.
where can you go get amazing food for $12? So
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
When things open back up. So.
yeah, I do miss that. So any other places around town that you can think
Just a
of?
fun place to go. River Pig down in the Pearl District is a lot of fun. Just as long as it's not like first Thursday and so packed you can't move. And they have pretty good food.
Yeah.
I think they have good food and usually just a fun atmosphere.
I like to go to
Depending on-
River Pig so I can acknowledge how old I am.
Well,
That's
yeah, it
what
does
I
make you feel a little. It's a young crowd for sure.
Part of going to River Pig is getting the heck out of there.
Yeah, for sure.
Just
Yeah.
kidding, River Pig.
It's
Nothing against the place.
It's great, but it's
That's
not
a me
for-
thing.
What about breakfast place? Like,
Oh gosh, breakfast. There's so many good breakfast places. Mother's is one that comes to mind. I've loved Batter over on
Batter is
Fremont.
really good. Yeah.
I haven't been there forever. What else is good for brekkie? There's so many good brekkie places. They're not coming to me right now. What do you've got anything?
Batter stuck in my head right now.
Their sauce, their pancakes.
Zeus Cafe. I love the Zeus Cafe.
That's a good old standby, yeah.
Which reminds me of another great happy hour actually is Jake's. Right across the street from Zeus Cafe.
Yeah.
So
They do have a good happy hour.
Jake's is really good.
I feel like there's a lot of places that have changed since, like, I feel like there was a time there when all of my food included restaurants, and that's all I ate was out.
Yeah.
So I eat at home a lot now, or I do HelloFresh actually, but
Yeah.
but I feel like Bamboo is just like that go-to place for me if I go out.
If you're gonna go out.
If I'm gonna go out,
Yeah.
yep. That's
Yeah, it's
where I
different
choose-
if you're not going out all the time. It's hard, there's so many great places in Portland. It's hard to hit them all,
Yep.
and it's easy to just kind of get stuck in the
The same.
the go-to. Like if I get one night out, like that's
I love
where I go.
Norinenko during the wintertime for ramen. I love ramen. I know there's a lot of wonderful ramen places, but Norinenko on Friday or Saturday nights, they usually have someone spinning records there, which I love. So get a little ambiance with your bowl of noodles.
There you go.
So but that's it for me, I think.
Another great one that Jet and I love to go to is it's a Stark Street Espresso is the official name, but it's a Greek guy, and he has amazing food there that he barbecues every day. So it's Tim's Barbecue, but that's not on the sign. But
You wouldn't expect it, actually. It's a big surprise because it's more of a
so good, like
coffee
the food-
shop cafe.
Yeah, you think it's just a coffee shop, but like once you know, you know. And
Yeah,
it's like,
the lunch. I actually had the chicken the other day, and it just like fell right off the bones. And it was
Yeah.
incredible, and so good spot there for sure to try out if you're over in that area of town. So, speaking of areas in town, let's move into neighborhoods. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I know personally we've lived in the Pearl,
yeah.
west side of Portland, just kind of sneeze, and you're in Beaverton, right there. What was it, Vista? Off of Vista over there, Canyon.
Yeah, it's West,
Canyon Road.
it's called
yeah.
West Slope.
West
is
Slope
kind of what
neighborhood.
it's officially known as, I
Yep.
believe.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
what they call
You are
it.
correct.
Yeah.
So that was a great place to live as well. Pearl, and then where else have we lived?
Northeast Portland.
Northeast, yes.
So Rose City,
I still live in. Oh yeah, on
the golf course.
the golf
house.
course
Yeah.
there. That was a great spot too. So
Yeah.
golf course house.
So I grew up in Troutdale, and then I moved. The very first house I bought was in Troutdale, and that was an investment property. I didn't live there, but the first one I bought and moved into was out in Corbett. So,
Yep, the Juan property.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've lived in Corbett. And then from there I moved to Milwaukee. Then I moved to where did I move to from there? Happy Valley from there.
And what's your favorite neighborhood thus far that you've lived in?
Let me go through them. Then West Lynn,
Where
and
haven't you lived?
Southeast
Should we ask?
Portland. And, so I've kind of lived in most every neighborhood in Portland, or most every kind of area, not necessarily a specific neighborhood, but
Right.
a lot of them. I've moved around a lot, and I don't know. They were all my favorite at the time, kind of. I mean,
Did you
some
enjoy
better-
Alberta?
I liked living on Alberta. Yeah, I loved it. It just for the time in my life, in a different time in my life, it would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
But just because of where you and where everything that I did, and with my
Our son, yeah.
our son and stuff, Alberta wasn't ideal. But Jet loved it. I loved it. It was nice and walkable, and lots of great places to eat down there too. And,
For a time there, I was calling our 9-year-old son, asking him where I should go eat if I was in the
he's just
Alberta area. He'd ask me what
quite
I was
the
in
little
the mood.
hipster, yeah.
In the mood for, and I got this place you're gonna love, Mom. So, I think Alberta seems like it would have been really fun. But
Alberta's great. There's lots of there's lots of history there. There's lots of great restaurants along the strip. Last Thursday was always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So Alberta is great. Pearl District was great. It was nice living there. Being single, it was great. When you were there, and we, in hindsight, we probably would have stayed, until Jet was about 2 instead of moving out thinking we needed a yard when you don't need a yard when the kid can't walk. So
coffee shops and restaurants would have been wonderful.
A lot of fond memories in the Pearl District. I loved being in Corbett, and at that time it was probably too early for me to be out there.
Right. Now makes sense for Corbett,
Like
right?
now, I would love to live out in Corbett and have that acreage.
Your
But
50 years of growing
but,
up, you can
yeah,
settle
when
down
I'm
in Corbett.
23 years old, and everything I do is going out downtown or traveling
Yeah.
or something. Trying to take care of acreage was a little challenging.
I got a question for you. Is there a neighborhood you haven't lived in yet that has always been like one day it would be amazing, or
Yeah, it's not so much a neighborhood, but it's
Mm-hmm.
an area. I want to live on the Willamette River, and
who doesn't?
yeah, so and the Milwaukee side. No offense, Lake Oswego, but the Milwaukee side gets more sun. So,
True.
and it's a little closer to everything I personally do. So
Makes sense.
that makes more sense. But living on the water, having a boat and that kind of lifestyle kind of appeals to me. Our good friends live there, so going down there, I always
Yeah.
told Charles I want to live and I want to buy your house.
Right.
I didn't get there. I'm not there yet, but if money wasn't an object, I would have bought Charles' house and lived right there.
Not if I did it before you. No.
Exactly. So
No, that's
maybe
a
there's
good
little
dream
guest
house.
house.
Don't that you could stay in. Yes.
How about
when
yourself?
you visit, probably the same for me. It's Milwaukee's close enough to downtown, but still on the east side of the river, so convenient to get to east side locations. But also, just you're on the water. So what more can you ask for? I mean, during the winter time, during the summertime, it's a great place to be. So I agree with you. Water on the Willamette River somewhere would be nice. In the sun, I'm affected by sun. So yeah, so it's not a bad place, but I've enjoyed everywhere I've lived, so as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed the west side. I enjoyed the east side, and I like both. But right now, the east side's just more convenient for everything that I do.
School,
My
family,
It's family.
yeah.
It's all about family,
Yep.
really. So
Yeah. So real estate wise, so both of us would probably buy probably the same house, but same area.
Yeah.
Any parting thoughts on the real estate market before we say goodbye for today?
I think the market is coming back. Slowed down during COVID. It's coming back strong, in my opinion. It never really went away. Prices are holding strong. Rates are low. Inventory's low. So now's a great time to buy, sell, or invest.
Yeah,
Those are my thoughts on it.
I have the same. So
Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and answer my questions.
Thank you as well. It's been eye-opening, actually. So some good questions.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it, as always.
Yeah, thank you. And until next time.